Hello, it is good to see you guys out today. And it is Thursday afternoon, and excited that we've made it through this week, and just ready to focus on a couple of things. And so what happened was last week I put a challenge out there, put some thoughts out there as to what are some things you're working on. What's one thing you're going to work on? Whether it's setting a goal, whether it's building your confidence, whether it's taking action. And I had so many people respond to me about taking action. And so I want to talk about what does it mean to take action in your life, and why do we get to the point where we feel that there's been inaction. And so we're in the season of the coronavirus season. And so this gives us an opportunity to take action in many, many areas of our life. And so early on, I talked about the need for folks to get busy on their dreams and get busy writing their books, starting their business, running for political office, starting a nonprofit organization, or helping people, or just whatever your vision is, or whatever dream that you have in your heart. I just believe now is the season to get busy and to do it. And so with that said, I put out the question, and I got an awesome response from, I need to know how to take action. And so I'm going to talk today, what does it mean to take action in your life? What does it mean to take action on a particular project, or if it's making a move in your life? You know, life will require us to take action. And I firmly believe that all of us have seeds of greatness in us. And I'm a believer of faith, and I just believe the Bible clearly tells us that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And so we have to be of the belief, or we have to have the mindset that I can do it. That I can do it. Despite what has happened in the past, I can do it. So I'm going to talk about 10 things that we can do to take action in our life. And so the first thing is you have to cancel all negative thoughts of unbelief and failure. And you have to rebuild a great image of yourself, because all of us are made differently. All of us are created differently. All of us look differently. And even when you think about it, all of us even have a different fingerprint. So that means all of us are uniquely different from the person right next to you, even in your own home. And so you've got to realize that you have to cancel all the negative thoughts. When I was growing up, and I have a large family, my birthmark is right on my face. And you can see my birth. Thank God for makeup. But without the makeup, I have a discoloring on my face. And I used to always compare myself to other people, and compare myself even to my brothers and sisters, and wonder, why is my birthmark on my face? Why did I have to look like this? And I used to have a very, very negative opinion of me. But I had to go and chat with somebody about that. I went to a counselor way before that, it was popular for you to go out and even talk to other people about what you were thinking. So I went out and I sought out my youth pastor in my church, and I set up a meeting with him. And I told him, I don't like the way that I look. And he showed me a scripture in Psalms 139, which I will never forget. And it says that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And once I got that into my heart, into my spirit, into my life, to realize that I was different and God made me just the way I was, I began to become okay with myself. So in taking action in your life, you've got to settle that you are okay. It doesn't matter what other people think. You've got to know that you are okay. And so you've got to dispel all the negative thoughts that may have been played and said in your life. You've got to get rid of them. You've got to rebuild a good image of who you are. And then you've got to be willing to say, I'm okay. I'm okay. And so with that, these principles will help us take the action that we need on whatever it is in life, because you know what stage that you're in life. And so you know those things that you may need to take action on. And like I said, you've got to rebuild the good image of who you are. There are seeds of greatness in all of us. And so you have to cancel the thoughts of defeat and failure, because defeat and failure it's occurred in all of our lives, but it cannot be the basis for which we live our life. We've all had some setbacks, we've had some challenges, we've had some hard times, but it cannot be the step that we stand on for the rest of our life. We've got to be willing to go to that next step. And it's almost like when you're standing on a step, the question is, well, what if I took another step? You've got to be willing to decide the what if and go the next level and take that next step. And we don't know what it's going to look like. Many times we make decisions and there is an element of uncertainty, but you have to be willing to get on that step and say, let me take another step. And when you think about a baby that's walking, a baby that's just learning how to walk, when they fall down, they don't say, that's it, I'm done, I'll never walk again. What do babies do? They get right back up and they try it again. And so that's how it is when we're taking a step. We may fall, we may stumble, but the key is you got to get back up and say, what if I try it again? Also, in taking action and making movement in your life, you have to clearly ask God for wisdom and ask him for clarity and ask him for strength. So first of all, we want to ask God for wisdom. We want to say, God, is this the right step that I should be making at this time in our life? God, is this what you're telling me to do? God, I need strength in this time, because many times when we're taking action, we're stepping out of our comfort zone. And just think of the word comfort zone. The comfort zone is the place that we feel the most secure in. The comfort zone is a place that we don't want to move. You know, it's like a baby in the mother's womb. When it's time for them to be birthed, you know, the doctors have said they like that nice warm environment that they're in with all that soft body temperature of 98.7 or 98.6. So they like being in that nice, comfortable environment. But it's not good past 9 months. The baby, when they get past 9 months, it's time for them to be pushed out of that environment and into life. And so it's the same way with us. When we take action in our life, we have to realize I have been here long enough. And so now it's time for me to take the next step. You know, also in taking action, we've got to believe in ourselves. We've got to believe that we have wisdom, that we are smart, that we can make good decisions, and that you are looking out for the best interests of you. How can I say that more clear? You're looking out for you. So when you're taking action, you're not going to take action that you believe is going to hurt yourself. You're taking action that you believe this is the right step for you to make in your life at this season. So you've answered those hard questions. And if you haven't, you may need to go out and pull out a piece of paper. And, you know, my father used to tell us, you know, when you have to make a hard decision, take a piece of paper and just draw a line down the middle and you list the pros and the cons. And that's an old-fashioned way of taking action. You list the do's and the don'ts, the pros and the cons in making this decision. And sure, if one outweighs the other, that may be a good indication that it's not time to take action. So you have to look at the pros and the cons. You have to look at if this is the right time to do it in the season in my life. And so you think about, as I said, my father gave me the old school method of taking action and making a decision. Take out a legal pad, draw a line down the middle, and you look at the pros and the cons. And if one outweighs the other, then it may not be time to take action. Also, it's really, really important when we're taking action to realize what season we're in our life. There is a season for all of us, and all of us are in different seasons in our life. But one season that we're all in is the coronavirus stay-at-home season. So with that said, we've got to see the season that we're in, if it's the right time to make the decisions or make the step that we're pondering over. In the season that we're in, it's been a season of, for me, of reflection, of rebooting, of refocusing, of doing some things differently. And so this has been a great season for me to be in, to take action on many, many things. It's been a great season for me. And as I said earlier, I cleaned up my office in my home. You know, my desk was just unbearable. You know, I'm one of those persons that I can have lots of things on my desk and I know where everything is. You know, don't touch my desk because I know where everything is. But I realized I needed to clean up. I needed to clean up my space. And I cleaned it up. And when I cleaned it up, it has just been the environment for me. I'm a very creative person. I like to produce. I like to create. And so with this environment that I'm now in, I mean, the juices are flowing. And so I had to take action in just cleaning up my environment, cleaning up my desk. And it has been a world of difference for me. And so you have to decide, what season are you in? Is this the season that you decide to make a move or not? When I was in politics early on, and I served in politics for 17 years on the Southfield City Council, when I first ran for office, my children were very, very young. I actually was going to run for city council in the city of Detroit. Now, we're going back in many years ago. You know, I was just a nobody, but I knew that I wanted to get involved in politics. But shortly after I had made a decision to get involved in politics in Detroit, I had got my filing papers, I had put together my team, and then I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter. And so that season was not going to be the season for me to run for political office. And so I had to wait. I had to wait till my children got older before I decided to take action to run. And so with that, you've got to make sure that you're in the right season, because seasons determine everything. So you've got to get clear on, is this the right season to jump? Is this the right season to take action? And so only you can answer that. You know, only you can answer that. But then there are times when we have to realize there will never be a perfect season. Everything will not line up perfectly, because if you wait for everything to line up perfectly, you may never take a step. You may never take action. And so timing is not going to be perfect in every situation. Sometimes people always look for everything to line up. They look for all the ducks to be in a row. Well, sometimes they're not going to be in a row, and they're still going to require you to go forward. They're going to require you to take that step. And so don't wait for everything to line up. In fact, there's a scripture in the Bible where it talks about the farmer who waits to plant. Well, in order to get a crop, you've got to plant. And so you've got to be willing to plant a crop if you want to get the harvest. And so if you don't do it, it won't happen. It's nothing from nothing will leave nothing. So you have to decide if this is the right season for you to take action, if this is the right season for you to jump, if this is the right season for you to act. But again, everything is not going to line up perfectly. And I think that's where sometimes, if you've ever run into a person that is a perfectionist, and I know them. I know perfectionists where they have to have everything lined up. But what I have also learned, and they have some great strengths, but they also have some great challenges, because they wait for everything to line up. And so everything is not going to line up. If we wait for the perfect season to do everything, we will still be waiting. So there will be some seasons of uncertainty, but it doesn't mean that you don't take action. It may mean that you might go a little bit slower than what you were planning on. But the key is you have to take action. And sometimes that action is baby steps. Sometimes that action is day by day. You might want, and I was thinking about if we even put ourselves, because there's still some other things that I desire to do, and I know you as well. If we put ourselves on a 30-day challenge plan, which means over the next 30 days, if every day we can take one step toward our the thing that we want to jump on. It can be devoting 5 minutes a day to it. It can be 20 minutes a day. It can be 15 minutes a day. But every day you're taking a step toward that particular thing that you want to take action on. And so we've got to break it down into bite-sized pieces. Taking action means that you're going to move a step closer to the dreams that are on your heart. You're going to move a step closer to what you want to do. So sometimes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Sometimes we look at that elephant and say, oh, I can never do that. No, you take it one day, one step at a time. You don't look at how big the mountain is. You just got to get up to the mountain and just start digging. And you know what? My husband gives this example of when you're chopping a tree down. It might be a big tree with a big fat trunk. And how do you take that tree? One swipe. And you keep swiping and you keep hitting that tree until it falls over. So don't expect the tree to fall over in the first hit. You have to keep working at it, keep working at it. And you know, when I ran for city council, and that was one of the dreams and desires on my heart. The first time I ran for city council, I lost. I lost by 1,700 votes. And that was a very, very small number. And, you know, I was like, oh, man, I lost. And so 2 years later, in my city, we have elections every 2 years. So 2 years later, it was time for the city council election again. And, you know, I was full of energy knowing that this was the time for me to take action because my children were a little older and they could help me campaign. And I went out there, worked hard, kissed babies, and I lost again. And it was like, okay, take a deep breath, pull back. You got 2 years to get yourself together. And so I went out there 2 years later, worked hard, kissed babies, shook hands, passed out literature, and I lost again. I was a 3-time loser. And so I was ready to just say, you know, that's it. I'm done. You know, maybe this was just a dream that I had, and I did it. I ran, but I didn't win, and that's okay. It was a great experience. But then 2 years later, it was an article in the newspaper, and it said something like this. I'm talking about taking action today. It was a headline that said, few people are considering running for city council. Now, that sounded like an open door to me. That sounded like I needed to take some action. That sounded like this was the window, the season for me to jump. And so what I did was I ran down to the clerk's office, obtained the papers. I got the papers done within a 4-day window, submitted the papers, worked extensively hard, worked really, really hard, and I won. Why did I win that time? It was the right season. It was the right timing. I realized that although I had previous defeats, it was time for me to step again. It was time for me to take action again. So as I said before, even though you may have had previous setbacks, previous failures, previous defeats, you still have to get back into the game. You still have to do what's on your heart to do. You know, I am a firm believer that God puts things on our hearts that he wants us to accomplish. And the bottom line is when we stand before our maker, he's going to say, what did I tell you to do? Did you do what I told you to do? Or did you wait for other people? Or did you listen to other people? Or did you not act because you thought that somebody else was talking about you, or whatever it is? But you have to have a spirit of determination when you think about taking that next step. You have to have a spirit of determination when you're saying, I'm going to do it. Because life has held or handed us in sometimes some real difficult challenges, some real difficult situations, but we've got to be willing to get back up again. We've got to be willing to take action again. And I know, you know, a couple years ago, I lost my son, and it was totally unexpected. It was not in our playbook for the Jordan family. And so it was a hit. And I had to just, you know, and it was a hard hit. And I had to say, you know, is this going to knock me out, or am I going to get back up? There were many days that I just pulled the covers over my head. There were days that I questioned God. There were days when I said, you know what, this is not fun. This is not fair. This is not what I expected life to hand me. And as I sat there, and as I had those thoughts, and as I had those challenges, and as I had those tears, I had to realize I'm getting back in the game of life. I am not going to let this stop me, even though that was the design of the enemy. Hey there, Miss Somerville. That was the design of the enemy, because we have an enemy that wants to stop us. That was his design, was to knock me out of the game of life. But I'm telling you, you cannot let anything stop you from taking action. You cannot let anything stop you from moving forward. You have to take the adversities of life and use them as a stepping stone to keep going. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't want to, even though you want to say, what's the use? You know, and I'm a pastor's wife, and so I'm sure, you know, and I had the thoughts, well, God, are you still there? God, are you still with me? And I had to realize I have believed in God since I was a young girl, and I dare not stop now. So I am continuing with my faith in God that he's never left me. He is still with me, that we are unstoppable, and we're still going to take the strides that we need to accomplish the dreams in our heart and to take action on the dreams in our heart. And we have to realize that in taking our steps, we've done our homework. I'm not telling you to go out there and just jump off the bridge and go for it. I'm telling you, you better make sure that you've calculated the risk, that you've done your homework, that you've done your research, that you've done everything you need to do to make sure that's a solid step. Because sometimes people take steps and they haven't counted up the cost. You know, you really do have to count up the cost when you're taking steps. I had a friend that was building a home here in Southfield, and they had built a beautiful shell of a home. It was one of those homes where you go out, you secure a property, you find a lender that will give you the money, a construction loan, but you build the house. It's like you build the house yourself. But they had the loan, they had started building the home, but then they realized that there were more things they needed. The cost kept escalating, and they did not have enough to finish that home. And it was a scale of a home. And they had even showed me on the inside of the home when it was just a shell, and they had put in the bathroom. All the rooms were completed, but they had basically run out of money. And so they ended up getting foreclosed on the home, and somebody else has since gone in and has rebuilt the home from the inside, and now they're living in it. And this has been over 15, 20 years ago. But they didn't count up the cost. So in taking action, you've got to count up the cost to make sure that you have the resources to do it, to make sure that you have the support to do it, to make sure that you have everything you need to take action. And I have to give a shout out to my husband, because early on when we got married and he knew that he was going to be in the ministry, and I knew that I was going to get in politics, and he has always been, I want to call him a dream pusher. Not a drug pusher, but a dream pusher. That's good. He's been a dream pusher, and he's always been the one to push me on my dreams. And he's always been the one to say, count up the cost. He's always been the one to say, make sure you've got all your ducks in order before you take that leap. But he's been one to help me get up to that step so that I can go to the next step. So I really do have to give a shout out to him, because when you're taking action, you have to make sure that you've got good people around you. You've got to make sure that you've got, I call it a dream team of people around you that's going to help you, that's going to give you some critical thinking, that may even challenge your thinking, that may add to your thinking. And so you've got to have a good team of people around you that's going to help you go forward, that's going to help you take action. And so make sure, when you're looking to take action in your life, that you have bounced that idea off some people that's for you. I didn't say bounce that idea to people that's not for you. You got to bounce that idea to people that are for you, because haters will be haters, and they're going to tell you the can'ts and the shouldn'ts, and you shouldn't go for it. But those that are with you will give you insight on maybe considering a different way or considering something different. And so let the haters be the haters, but definitely be around a dream pusher, be around a dream pusher, and be around someone that you can trust. And again, you can find that in closest friends. You can find that in people that, when I was on my job, they're good co-workers that you can trust. But it definitely has to be people that you can trust. And so the last thing that I want to share is when you're taking action is you got to take action. You got to jump. You got to make sure that those things are in order in terms of canceling out the negative thoughts and your negative beliefs and canceling out the thoughts of defeat and failure and praying and ask God for wisdom and believing in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. If nobody believes in you, you got to believe in you. And you've got to understand what season you're in, making sure that you're in the right season. This is the right time to take action. And again, at the same time, realize everything's not going to line up. Everything's not going to be perfect. And so you may have to take action even in a season with some uncertainty in it. But you've also got to make sure that you've done your homework, that you've calculated the options, that you've calculated the risk. And as I said, my dad early on said, when you're making a big decision and you're getting ready to take action, take out an old legal pad. Take out an old legal pad and draw a line down the middle and look at the pros and the cons and see if the pros outweigh the cons and decide that that you're going to do it. Seek counsel. Seek a trusted friend. Seek a person that you can value their opinion and get clarity with them. And then the last thing is to jump. Just go ahead and take action. And if you fail, go back to step one. Stand up, brush the dust off, see what you can adjust differently, and start all over again. The key in life is to, when you get knocked down, you get back up and you start all over again. So I just wanted to encourage you all today in taking action. And I have, if you email me, if you drop me an email on any of these formats or message me, there's a short little ebook I'd love to send you. It's called Just Your Success Thoughts. And so it's important, in taking action, that you have to have the right belief system. You have to have the right thinking in place. And you've heard the old illustration of people that see the glass half full or half empty. I'm telling you to look at the glass half full, not half empty. And so I encourage you to take action with what's on your heart. Take action with those things that you're looking at. And those of you that may want to relocate, pray and ask God, is this the season for me to move? Take action on those dreams that are on your heart. So I want to thank you all for chiming in, for tuning in. And we're going to do a 30-day challenge. We're going to get back in 30 days to see if you are taking steps toward your dreams. So God bless you, Patrice and Lanisha and Kathy Lancaster and Sister Dowdell, all you. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. So God bless you and have a great rest of your day. God bless you guys.